number 1. Price College number 1. St Paul's Collegiate number 1. St Bede's College number 1. Hamilton Boys High School number 1. St John's Hamilton number 1. St Bede's College number 2. Nelson College number 1. Attention.
Away they go, boys, novice 8s, first year rowers. This is race 536 of the Aon 2014 Maadi Cup Regatta. They're all first year rowers. And this is an exhibition event for the Maadi Cups. It will be in for medals next year, and it's an exhibition event this time. So Hamilton boys got a huge crew. They're all big lads, and they'll be pushing out to the front. They're the North Island champions. 41 they're on. South Island champions, St Paul's Collegiate. 38 for them, and Shirley boys down on the inside. Third in the North Island, first in rowing for 40 years for Shirley boys. Out of Christchurch, Christ College in 2, out of Christchurch. St Paul's Collegiate, out of Hamilton, second in the North Island Championship. St Bede's College, winners of the South Island Champions, out of Christchurch. Hamilton boys, of course, North Island title holders. St John's Hamilton, out of Hamilton. St Bede's number 2. Great to have 2 crews there for St Bede's, out of Christchurch. And Nelson College, out of Christchurch, second in the South Island Championships, first 400 down. And we're looking out here at the crew on the outside. Nelson on 39, Nelson. But take a look at the Hamilton boys crew, smack bang in the middle of the course, the fast lane. Number 5, they are about a canvas down on Nelson at this stage. They go through the 500 now. Nelson now, Hamilton now. So that's how close they are, guys. And 36.5 for Hamilton. Then we go across the far side. We can see the colours of St Paul's College. St Paul's College would only be a half a length down on Hamilton. And then it's most likely about a half a length back to Christ College number 1, and Shirley boys about 3/4 of a length off that. But sitting in between lanes number 8, which is Nelson College, only a half length down, is St Bede's number 2, and this is a big row from them and the number 2 crew. And they are eyeballing St John's from Hamilton, only about a foot advantage on them. But we go back to the leaders, and Hamilton's now hit the front. St Paul's Collegiate up in 3rd position, 35.5, and that's what you need to be, 36 to put these 8-packers through. This is brilliant rowing by novices. I tell you what, this Hamilton boys are just dropping the blades into the water, and they're not actually pushing on the legs. They're pushing on the legs, and they're actually moving the boat past the leverage point. And that's exactly what they want to do. 35.2 they are. They've just dropped it down a couple now as they cruise through to the 1,000. They look as if they're going to be too strong, but we have seen crews come from behind before. St Paul's across on the far side there. They are quite possibly up and very close to 2nd position. They're picking up Nelson College. Nelson College went out exceptionally fast. St Paul's 2nd in the North Island. Nelson 2nd in the South Island. And they are locked together, those 2 crews, with about a 2 feet advantage to St Paul's. Let's see where the rest of the race is coming from. It's coming from lane number 7, St Bede's number 2. A young Khan Taylor will be starting to really work on him. He looks out to the right. He looks out to the left. I tell you what, you're going to have to give him one of those free massages before the end of the regatta, because his back is just going bang up and down on the backboard of this 8-packer. And they are creeping up alongside Nelson. St Bede's number 2. But young Khan is really starting to work on it. He wants to get them up there. Look at Hamilton, the power of this boat. Shirley boys across the far side. Christ College are actually locked together, these 2 crews. They eyeball each other on the Avon River in Christchurch. A little slower rating coming from, he's off the seat in the 3 seat of St Paul's Collegiate. He's back on again. He's actually hitting the front stop, or he's got problems with his slide. He's not getting his knees right up to it. In the meantime, Hamilton boys says, I'm going to kiss goodbye to the rest of the field, and we're just going to power it on. I don't think there'd be one guy in this boat would be under 6 feet. They really have got some power in the boat. They drop the blade in the water and they just go push past the leverage. 35 still, and that tells us they're pretty confident. A good rating for an 8 is around 36, 35 if you're strong. St Bede's number 2. It's moved on Nelson, and it's gone past Nelson like a bloody 22 bullet out of a 22 rifle. They have shot past them and put a half a length on them, and they're having a go at St Paul's across the far side. One of the rowers, they're on 37, and one of the rowers to St. Paul's takes a look across. I'm sure the coxswain will know what he's doing. Rower, you'll have to keep the eyes straight down the middle of the lake to the big concrete pad. I think Nelson have gone. They're all going on them. Oh, yes, St. Pete's too have hit the front. 500 to go. Oh, no, St. Paul's have got the lead back again now. And look out for lane number 4. Lane number 4, which is St. Bede's number 1. St. Bede's number 1 now starting to move. Oh, they've been sitting back about 3/4 of a length, and they're moving now on St. Paul's. And they're going to have a crack at their number 2 crew. They're on 38, St. Bede's. We can't see what's going on the far side. It looks like Christ College and Shirley. Shirley and Christ College together. Maybe Shirley's got about a couple of feet on Christ College. Oh, you can say goodbye to Hamilton, boys. Who's going to take the rest? We come down to the line. We've got about 250 metres to go. Yellow boys. And it's all on here. St. Bede's number 2, St. Bede's number 1, Shirley boys, and also St. Paul's Collegiate. St. Paul, oh, there's a nose in front, St. Paul's Collegiate. Look out for St. Bede's number 1 have hit second. St. Bede's number 1 have gone up into second. St. Paul's Collegiate, Shirley boys are coming on them. They've only got about 3 feet on them. And also St. Bede's number 2 are now down at canvas. But it's St. Bede's clearly into second. Shirley boys really rushing at St. Paul's Collegiate. Shirley boys picking them up with every stroke it could go, St. Bede's. Shirley boys, but Hamilton boys are going to put the gold biscuit around their neck. St. Bede's will put the silver, and it's going to either be Shirley. Oh, there's 3 of them. They're going to need a photo finish like the Addington Trots here. It's 3 of them. They're going to go across the line. Shirley boys on the inside. St. Paul's and St. Bede's. Whoa-wee.
Medals now for the boys under 18 Novice Coxed 8. This event proudly sponsored by Top Hut here in Twizel. To present our medals, we have Gillian Simpson from the Board of Rowing New Zealand. Thank you, Gillian, for doing this. Winners of the bronze medal. From Hamilton, St. Paul's Collegiate. This crew is coached by Tim Wilson, and it is made up of Elliot Ware, Marcus Campbell, Jack Oliver, Riley Chick, Kerwin Rose, Campbell Peart, James Kenner, Sam Porritt. They're coxed by Jimmy Christie. The time for St. Paul's was 6:38.48. So well done, boys. Bronze medal winners, St. Paul's Collegiate. Winners of the silver medal now for the boys under 18 Novice Coxed 8, St. Bede's. It's great to hear so much noise. Joseph Mates, Angus Haynes, Ryan Pinnell, Josh Vanderplas, Jack Gillian, Hamish Sanders, Jack Bell, Logan Preston. They're coxed by Frano Stanisic. And this crew is proudly coached by Joe Barclay and Blake Howden. The time for St. Bede's, 6:37.32. Congratulations, St. Bede's. Now the Aon New Zealand Secondary Schools Boys Under 18 Novice Coxed 8 champions for 2014. Hamilton Boys High. We have in this crew Joel Fleming, Caleb Muntz, Joshua Davis, Matthew Waugh, Reece Bain, Jacob Pryor, Carney Dunster, Gabe Banks. Their coxswain is Tony Pavich, and their coach is Ivan Pavich. The time for Hamilton boys, 6:31.63. So congratulations to our boys under 18 Novice Coxed champions, Hamilton Boys High.